So this week for our chapter video summary, we're going over chapter 21, chapter 22. Chapter 21 is over employee discrimination. So we're going to go the employment at will doctrine, constitutional provisions, some Civil Rights Act that it went to, Equal Pay Acts, and then some Age Discrimination Act, the Rehabilitation Act, and some other different acts that help with age or discrimination in employees. So employment at will doctrine is a contract of employment for an intermediate term, is terminable at will by either the employer or employee. Traditional American rule governing employers and employee relationship. Some restrictions of it are the implied contract violations of public good policy and implied good health and fair dealing. So the different acts that we see, Civil Rights Act 1866 is discrimination basis of race and ethnicity. Equal Pay Act is, as we see, age discrimination based on sex. Civil Rights Act, it's discrimination in terms and conditions of employment based on race, color, gender, religion, sex, or national origin. And Age Discrimination Employment Act of 1969 is discrimination in terms and conditions of employment on the basis of age when the affected individual's age is 40 or older. That's what I'm actually writing my paper over for this class, so I know a decent amount about it. There's also the Rehabilitation Act, which is discrimination by government or governmental contractors on the basis of handicap, and American with Disabilities is discrimination of employment with disabilities. So some things that each different act all the acts kind of go over and kind of help each other. Like we know that there's a lot of different acts for different for sex and for ethnicity and everything, and there's even about 2 of them with employees for disabilities. So how you enforce these different acts? There's different ways. You can take it in court. You can deal straight with or you can deal straight with the company itself. We know that there are some cases which people are discriminated, but nothing really happens. You could have, with nowadays with technology and everything, you can see people's past health records, and then employers may not hire an employee based on health, like if they had cancer in the past, or if they have any sort of disease that runs in the family, because that just requires then medical bills for that company. Chapter 22, it's environmental law. So we're going to go over some approaches, the protection agency, regulating it, and all that. So tort law is regulating pollution by using tort nuisance, and nuance is an unreasonable interference with someone else's or employment of his or her land. So what that entitles to is companies that are dumping water illegal or dumping waste illegally. So the environmental impact, it's supposed to propose action, unavoidable adverse effects, alternatives to the proposed action, and it's supposed to help give companies another reason on how to dispose of their waste instead of doing it illegally and polluting the air. So some different type pollutants that are go along with health. Carbon dioxide, that's the big one. Lead, that's the neurological system. Nitrogen oxides is lung and respiratory damages. Ozone is eye irritation. Sulfur dioxide is lung and respiratory tract. So how they regulate these, there's a 2-tiered set of standards developed by the chief conventional air pollutions, and there's state implementation plans that explains how the state will meet federal air pollution standards. So climate change is one thing that is affected by this, and that's by the greenhouse gases. The more we pollute, the more greenhouse gases, which causes global warming, which just melts the ice caps and all that, and animals are facing danger that live like down like in Antarctica and everything, like the polar bears and everything. So some ways to that the government's tried to get rid of these is need for international cooperation, movement of air, prevailing wind patterns, movement of water through ocean currents. There's being research on conferences, treaties, and that's how they are helping to try to stop the pollution.